So let's see which side will have bragging rights. Team Evie has been doing pretty well with their new tank line. Numlock can be inconsistent. Happy cool, a little bit more consistent, but if there's a weakness on this team, it's the fact that they just don't have as much time together as Atlanta Academy do. Atlanta Academy running something that we haven't seen all day so far, and that's Sombra.
That is Sombra. Sugar Free still on the Reaper, but Atlanta Academy playing kind of a grab bag of heroes here. Vader and Hawk on the Hammond and Diva respectively. Team Envy are going to take up shop on this point. First thing, they got that static shielding, they can threaten that hook, but Atlanta Academy honestly don't seem to really care. Their play is to pick everybody off piecemeal, go on these flanks, and together with the Sombra, between the Sombra, the Hammond, and the Reaper, pincer Team Envy.
Sharp has shown himself to be very good at hit scan. I love it when he's playing Tracer as well. This time he's going to be on that Widowmaker, and Kodak doing what Kodak does is get coalesced before anyone else gets an ultimate. This tends to push a lot of teams off the point and able to get them some initial picks. The Crimso going to use the Transcendence to counter. Jaru going to find the Wrecking Ball. Gator unable to use the Proximity Mines in time. Funny as even though he gets the pick, Team Envy still in control. And now that Jaru and Sharp find these picks, they're going to keep their ultimates and they're going to keep the point.
This is going to have the opportunity for a res. Fire brings Numlock back, so Atlanta Academy can't get cheeky and try and push their advantage while Envy are missing their main tank. Atlanta Academy really gambling here right now. They had a golden season, did not drop even a map through all of the regular season of Contenders, but now in playoffs, it looks like they try to shake things up, and it has not been working quite as well. Sugar Free on this Tracer is going to synergize much more easily with Saucy and Hawk, but so far, Team Envy's snipers have had the hot hand. They're really playing kind of the pincushion composition. Stand there, be pointy.
Team Envy running double sniper is very common on this map, particularly here on the Sanctuary. Atlanta Academy are dealing with this double sniper. Usually you see double sniper versus double sniper because how do you deal with long distance damage? By having it yourself and then it just duels between those snipers. But now that the EMP comes through, Numlock, Tactical, and Jaru are all going to be victimized by getting hacked, and they're putting everything into that EMP. Saucy took a while to get to it, so it's still not a done deal for Atlanta Academy. As Sugar Free does fall, Atlanta Academy have an ultimate advantage for the time being, but Team Envy are going to be able to stall this out a little while longer. Hawk has the self-destruct as well as Team Evie are going to give up the point anyway as they enter one fight territory, but this pick onto Funny Asher is going to make things really complicated for Atlanta Academy, especially now that both supports are gone. Sharp with 2 headshots, making sure that Team Envy have an opportunity to win in this match outright at 86% after the flip.
Talk about DPS meta. Team Envy right now proving why it is never over. Both Jaru and Sharp with a couple of blows cutting Atlanta Academy's forces in half. There is a bomb coming out. It actually catches the Hanzo.
Yeah, that wasn't the prettiest bomb in the world either, but that's a nice pick onto Jaru. So the Dragon Strike's not going to be something they have to deal with. Nice hack onto Numlock as well. A hack onto your Wrecking Ball is pretty much for them. The Dragon Strike now coming in after the res, going to help separate Atlanta Academy. And Sugar Free having himself a little bit of a rough game so far. Is Atlanta Academy able to flip it, but as they flip, just like last time around, they suffer a little bit of casualties this time around. Got to take the shot sometime, Sharp. There you go. As Kodak gets taken down, Atlanta Academy now come back onto that EMP. Even though they're going to be down numbers, they're going to have to invest.
Holy cow, Sharp, man. He heard us praising KSP last round. He's like, you know what? I play Widowmaker too. You might have seen it. Saucy does have EMP, but without more members to capitalize off the back of it, there's not a lot that Atlanta Academy can do. That Pulse Bomb stick is going to be good, but immediately evened out by a res from Fire.
Atlanta Academy, this is something that we haven't seen from this team before. Unable to get any momentum. They're the ones in control 99% of the time. And my God, we've entered that 1%, and that's Team Envy taking down Atlanta Academy, but not for long. If Atlanta Academy somehow grit it out, they grind it out and take down and one by one. They should be able to flip this once more, but they don't ever feel like they're going to be able to hold on to it, maybe for a little while longer. Team Envy makes some switches.
Atlanta Academy finally got rid of Fire's Mercy, and that was the first key to dismantling Team Envy's rock solid bunker composition. If you don't have that pocketing, you're not going to be getting as much damage from your DPS, nor that super consistent healing. Atlanta Academy now, though, do have to continue to hold on to this point. They cannot lose a single fight. So Saucy and Sugar Free, they know that the fight's going to be at melee range. Swap onto May and Reaper.
Saucy finds another pick. Atlanta Academy trying to turn this around, and the ship seems to be righted, at least for the time being. Happy to with the self-destruct that caused a little bit of disruption to the back line. He doesn't find any picks, but Sharp is doing enough onto the McCree to cause a little bit of fear of Atlanta Academy. Hawk, though, is going to find himself a self-destruct kill onto Jaru. Sharp doesn't last any longer than that as well as Hawk finds another kill. Hawk is who I determined was for me the MVP of the season on both regions, and he's showing why 3 kills he can hunt, he can destroy, he can heal, he can throw those bombs out and get value out of them as well.
It is not very often that you see the bomb go out, the Mei puts up the wall, and she dies to the bomb. Of all things, Team Envy now, with their swaps onto these new heroes, have reset their ultimate economy. Sharp now is on the Reaper, better to duel out Atlanta Academy. The McCree was hitting his shots, he just doesn't have the same amount of self-sustain. But now, Team Envy have to weather this blizzard. They can't get all caught in it.
Atlanta Academy have come back from the brink, 99%. This is going to be the last fight between both of these two teams. And 3 picks now for Atlanta Academy. The Coalescence not coming in time from Crimzo. Now he's the sole survivor, but for not much longer. And Atlanta Academy coming back. I was ready to write them off this round not too long ago, about 70 seconds ago, and Atlanta Academy proved me wrong, 100-99. The rest of the series I could see going exactly like that, back and forth, but Team Envy was able to do something that, in my opinion, no team has ever been able to do against Atlanta Academy. I saw Atlanta Academy shook a little bit. They're a little shook.
Yeah, to be fair, Atlanta Academy was running a very unorthodox composition, but it was their choice. It was like they entered that 200-meter dash and they decided to go without shoes. And finally, Team Envy had to put on those sneakers because Team Envy was not going to let them get away with it. They still do want to stick with Saucy on this Sombra, at least for some scouting purposes, and Team Envy is going to match them with Sharp on that same Mexican hacker, but Jaru will take to the air on this Pharah, one of his most productive heroes, and I'm personally very excited to see what happens. Pharah is, on paper, an excellent counter against Reaper, who generally has a hard time touching her in the air. You also, with this, have the opportunity for a res, a little mini ultimate in the mid-fight should Team Envy need it. But whoever sets up fort on the objective first, nobody saw that, will have the major advantage because Jaru wants to be defending as this Pharah, not attacking.
This Pharah was divine in Team Envy's final last week, and he hasn't been able to recreate it so far. He's been able to make some contact, but no picks now for Team Envy's. He's going to be taken very low and then down, as Atlanta Academy will own this point at least for a little while longer.
Big error from Team Envy. Everybody leapt onto the point, but they were a millisecond too late. Atlanta Academy already capped it, so they were essentially just offering themselves up on the altar of free damage. Saucy now will have EMP in just a scant few seconds, and Team Envy are going to have to push into this, and not with any speed either, since Crimzo is on the Ana. No loot need to be set.
Gator hack for the time being, unable to follow up with a kill. Sugar Free also very low. Coalescence is going to be used to keep everyone nice and healthy, and Atlanta Academy will continue their dominance here against Team Envy.
I'm wondering if at this point Team Envy should just already commit to switching. Numlock is very close to this supercharger, but with the way that Atlanta Academy is holding so close up on this choke, and with the way that they have historically played very aggressively, Team Envy are probably not going to get the setup that they're looking for. Before they even get to the point, they are likely to be EMP'd by Saucy, and once he gets it, that's blossom.
The EMP from Saucy hits 4. Sharp's going to have the EMP on the other side, and the second EMP, this is one of, I feel like, the few instances the second one is not going to find more value than the first one, as Atlanta Academy already find the kill, but it's self-destruct from Happyful, and now the Rocket Barrage is going to go through, but no kills for Jaru. This does not divide, my friends, for Jaru. It's a little bit underwhelming so far for his Pharah and Team Envy's Atlanta Academy for one fight there.
They do have no damage, though. Both Saucy and Sugar Free are down. Saucy just now coming back to the fight, so Team Envy should push this advantage, try and set up shop on the objective. There's 10 seconds left.
Another Coalescence now from a Kodak is pushing in some more damage. Sharp will fall, so the EMP is not going to be available when overtime comes through, but Team Envy buying him some time to come back with a couple more picks. Atlanta Academy, he's going to get rezzed as well, so the EMP is going to be available for Atlanta Academy, and they're going to go ahead and put the Nano onto Jaru as well. Doesn't look like he's quite ready for it, but the damage is going to be enough to get attacked. He's going to plant his feet on the ground, but Atlanta Academy can't do anything about it, as they're going to have to go back and spawn, and in the nick of time, Team Envy find themselves a successful attack on the objective.
Team Envy, whoo, by the hairs of their chinny chin chin, managed to wrest control of this point, but it was a very, very close thing. Atlanta Academy, sure, they're not giving up, they don't have a ton of long distance damage. Sure, they don't have a ton of point presence since they're running squishier tanks, but they do have that herd mentality. They dive as one, and Team Envy just lost so much time trying to break out of their own choke, but they have a beautiful advantage now. Atlanta Academy has to compete on this point where they're going to be grouped up for Sharp's EMP into Barrage. That could be a free team fight win for Team Envy who needs every fight they can take.
EMP into self-destruct could work as well. The Death Blossom only finds Crimzo. EMP now coming in from Saucy, only finds one. And so Team Envy and Atlanta Academy actually find themselves on even footing right now as Atlanta Academy are going to find a really good hack onto the Bear, who's going to fall on the ground and fall victim to the Coalescence from the Kodak, which seems to always be up. The Mercy is going to be unable to Guardian Angel away. This is a flip for Atlanta Academy in the waiting, and they should be able to take Busan and move up 1-0 against Team Envy, but they're going to try to stall it out. Team Envy are still going to lose members of the team. Finding a pick onto Hawk means that things are going to potentially get interesting for Atlanta Academy. The Primal Rage, though, is going to cause a lot of disruption into the back line. He's going to have to get back to his team eventually as Crimzo falls. Sharp is now on the Juice Fist. He falls. Jaru with the Rocket Barrage is going to get hacked in the middle of it, and he will fall as well. The Atlanta Academy find themselves in a very similar position that they were in 10 seconds ago. The brink of winning. Here we go. The point locks. Atlanta Academy win Busan. Team Envy will have to try again on Assault.
Team Envy had a game plan. It was just stymied left and right by Atlanta Academy. That last death knell push all came down to that Death Blossom from Atlanta's Reaper. We've seen how those flanks can pay off in our last series and how they can fail. Atlanta Academy this time around able to get the jump on Team Envy and completely destroying their backline before Envy really even knew what was going on. They had some great combos available, but because of the surprise change in tempo, they weren't able to react quickly enough.
I don't know if you noticed, but the N from Envy and the A from Atlanta make NA. I love it, especially since this is to figure out who is the best in North America, Team Envy or Atlanta Academy. Sharp had himself a little bit of a game on this Widowmaker, and Team Envy were on the brink of taking Atlanta Academy down on this first control round, like 99-17. But once Atlanta Academy were able to come back, they actually came back from a losing fight in the end game and were able to hold on to the point for the rest of it. Atlanta Academy never really let go. And then we go on to the next map. We go downtown. Jaru's on at the Pharaoh, which wreaked havoc in their final last week. But this time around, Atlanta Academy seemed to be ready for it.
Yeah, Team Envy very quiet with those DPS picks. Sharp didn't get an EMP until like the 7th fight in that round. And unfortunately, if you are playing Sombra, she does have a 60 clip magazine, but you are essentially just playing for that EMP. You're not going to be pumping out a ton of damage yourself. You're all about enabling the rest of your team. And the fact that Saucy could get that ultimate so quickly was what turned the tides for Atlanta Academy. If you can count on having one ultimate essentially every fight, then you know what strategy you need to employ to win.
Atlanta Academy utilizing a couple of heroes that we don't normally see. We didn't see at all in the last set, and that just goes to show how different a lot of these two teams play. And so Atlanta Academy have always been a little different than everyone else. Team Envy have been able to flex in the past, but the last game we saw a lot of snipers. We saw a lot of long distance damage, a lot of slow halt put combos. This time around, it was all in your face almost the entire time. A lot of blinking. You're seeing Sugar Free on the Tracer, and he had a really clutch stick that forced a res out of Team Envy near the tail end of Sanctuary, and Gator going into their faces, a much different kind of tempo than we saw in the last game.
Exactly. Atlanta Academy love to fight. They're at their best when they're in their enemies' faces, and a big part of it is just the players that they have on the squad love to brawl it out, and they're extremely comfortable with each other. This squad has been together for the entire season, and that's not something that Team Envy can say. And while it's not a huge, major difference in terms of teamwork, the pedigree for Team Envy is bar none. These kinds of little tiny differences will make a difference when you're talking about competing at such a level.
Anubis will be our next map, and this is another opportunity to see characters like Junkrat and Genji, Tactical Area Denial. Am I correct?
Or if you're Facility, Reaper.
Oh, well, we're probably going to see Reaper
We're
anyway, because
probably going to see
Reaper was already good on Anubis, particularly on attack.
I just can't forget him going after
for
like
3.5 minutes and then just blossoming and dying.
So
we all know. We all saw it. Give him a break. His season's over. It's rest time for him.
Yeah.
He'll have to think about his Reaper next season. Is now that we're with Envy and Atlanta, Anubis is going to pose some specific challenges both sides. The thing that Envy wasn't quite able to deal with was the game plan that Atlanta was able to bring. I don't think that Envy has faced a team as coordinated as Atlanta throughout the whole season. I think the same could be said the other way, but I think the difference is a little bit more on Atlanta Academy's side, because Team Envy did have to go through a little bit of an adjustment mid-season.
Yeah, they definitely had to, because the two tanks that they had, as quality as they are, just play a different style from Lulsish and Elivo, who were previously on the team and got promoted to Owl. So there's been a little bit of adjustment, but Team Envy now, the excuses are over. You're in the first Gauntlet match of the season, playing for a bye. So they have to bring their A game regardless of what's been going on with the team dynamics. Atlanta Academy going to be holding with Kodak on the Ana, a very rare sight for those of us familiar with Atlanta Academy. They love to play the Lucio Moira, but since you're on the defense of Anubis, there's not going to be a ton of value found from that high mobility. They're going all in with the bunker.
And we're seeing why maybe Atlanta Academy didn't run this very often. They know what they're good at. They usually do the tried and true, but I also like what they're doing, because even though they might be losing out here on Anubis, they will be entering. Look at Kodak in front of the arches. Anyway, but even though that they're going to be going to Korea, it might be a different meta. They're going to have to flex on even more comps, and they have the ability to potentially be incredibly versatile once we get there. Even though they lose out on this fight against Envy, I like that they're trying new things, and so finding this success on this particular comp a little bit easier.
If you're not particularly worried about the buy, this could be a great opportunity to try out some more risky strategies. But Atlanta Academy would just love to win this outright. They are going to keep with those same heroes. Envy, though, are going to be looking for that same early pick that helped them find point A in basically a single push. Atlanta Academy now forced behind the barriers with this amplification matrix. You just can't face tank all of that damage.
Gator finally finds some work for Atlanta Academy. Sugar Free will follow up the kill. This is a successful defense for Atlanta Academy. Team Envy are going to have to try once more, but they've got plenty of time on the clock.
Team Envy popped a really early amplification matrix, and it did buy a lot of space, but nobody really pushed forward. They wanted to see if Atlanta Academy was going to kind of give them an extra pick, an unforced error, because it's one of those things. It's not flashy, but it will absolutely shred an Orisa shield. So Team Envy are going to come back to the drawing board. They're nearly at Supercharger and Whole Hog, which can decimate the Atlanta backline. They don't have any defensive ultimates to speak for. Nano Boost is available, but no Transcendence or Sound Barrier to save them in cases of emergency.
Oh, nice wall. So Team Envy's own wall blocking them in so they can't rotate. Tactical goes down. That's a little bit of self-deprecation.
I thought you were going to say self-immolation. I was like, oh no, that's
a little intense. Intense.
Atlanta Academy, with that free pick, can just kind of sit back on their heels. They have plenty of ultimates, and bar a pick like that, Sugar Free kind of, testing the line. Team Envy are going to have to expend ultimates for their next push. Drow is still very far away from his own Lessard, and that's a tool that Atlanta Academy can use whenever they want. Team Envy are the ones who are going to have to Transcendence for it.
That's a really good Dragon Strike coming in for sure, because they actually invest the Nano in him, so the Dragons do a little bit more damage, forces the Transcendence out of Team Envy. But unfortunately for Atlanta Academy, Team Envy were ready for that Dragon Strike. The intention was to split Team Envy apart, and while Atlanta Academy are coming back little by little in this defensive struggle, as Tactical misses that hook, Atlanta Academy could have gotten more from that Dragon Strike. The Maze also going to fall with Lessard in hand, but with these picks for the defense trades, they're always better for the defense on second point assault. Team Envy are going to have to slow the roll just a little while longer.
It's like capturing a point on control. You have to
Happy, you're not dying. Happy, why would you die? Says Atlanta Academy, as Team Envy are unable to take down that hog, and he's going to be able to pop off himself and give themselves a really great opportunity to capture the second point.
Happy Cool has just put up his tent here in the corner, set up squatters right.
Nice hook, Happy.
They have no idea who's there. Nice hook, Happy. Indeed, the support for Atlanta Academy struggling to make up for this Roadhog that is just pumping damage out. They really want to find this D-Mech onto Hawk, and there we go.
The Blizzard comes through from the of Team Envy, and this is a really great opportunity for them to get the massive amount of kills that they need to capture this point. They're only half a tick away. The Tracer is going to have to try their darndest to make sure that this stalls out a little while longer. It's enough for Gator to get on, but this is all she wrote, like I like to say today, apparently. Atlanta Academy are going to fall, and Team Envy will capture both points.
Oh, Happy. Okay.
Yeah, Happy, dude.
I mean, it's more like holy cool. That guy is definitely playing more than just 50% right now. That was, I mean,
that was a terrible joke. I'm just going to let you know.
I had to go for it, man. I've been thinking up Happy Cool jokes this entire season. And now we finally get to cast the pinnacle, the penultimate showdown between Atlanta and Envy. I got to pull it out. Yeah. But he really was kind of the major factor for Team Envy. He just stayed alive there for so long. Atlanta Academy kind of just forgot about him, and that's the corner where you know you're going to find some juicy supports just hanging out, trying to heal from a safe angle. And Atlanta Academy, one of their very rare unforced errors, has kind of given us a glimpse of what happens when they do forget some of those foundational plays. Gotta look out for the Roadhog.
Well, the games have been so easy for Atlanta Academy in the past. I mean easy, even though Legion were able to take a map off of them last week, the rest of that series wasn't as competitive as Legion wanted. And so now that we're here with Atlanta Academy and Team Envy, we're, in my opinion, obviously seeing the two best teams in North America. These are the two representatives that a lot of probably have the most name recognition as well, going into the Gauntlet, and we're seeing exactly why. Team Envy, I think, much better at that calm, cool, and collected push. For Atlanta Academy, almost need that tempo increase, almost need to put Team Envy on the back foot, but right now, Team Envy solid footing. They're not getting tricked. The rug's not getting pulled out from under them, and Atlanta Academy can't use the same tricks that they were able to use against Legion, against everyone else in their group over the season, against Envy. Envy's a little too smart for that.
Oh, absolutely. They've seen it all. This squad is veterans of the Overwatch scene, and they're pulling out a veteran strat as well. Jaru on the Junkrat going to be going for potentially a water 5k tire. You never quite know, but they do need to find that damage very quickly, because the tire is the early win condition for the fight. Far a headshot from Sharp. Atlanta Academy, I would say, wisely deciding to just try and dive this bunker. We've gotten a ton of production from Saucy's Sombra, so not terribly, you know, not a terrible composition, but you do have to watch out for those tires and those headshots, because Team Envy has a ton of one-shot potential against the squishies from Atlanta Academy, where there's not going to be a ton of mid-fight. It's the engage and the dive. Are you going to be together that will determine the fight outcome?
Sugar Free gets taken very low, but the support is there for Atlanta Academy. Many members of Atlanta taking those. Not over for Team Envy. They're able to get some more picks, especially from Sharp. This isn't over for them, as Atlanta Academy have already lost 3. Hawk almost getting D-Mech, and the res will come through for Team Envy, so things are pretty much even right now. However, the offense responds way more friendly than the defense responds. Atlanta Academy will have their full 6-member roster a little bit sooner than the Team Envy. You're seeing that right now. Sharp is going to give a little bit of space, and Team Envy look like they're just going to give up point A.
Yeah, just really unlucky. Happy Cool possibly could have gotten into mech, but Saucy hopped on top of that baby diva, immediately kept her from calling that mech down. So Atlanta Academy, what looks like maybe a really disadvantageous composition, has made it work, and now they're heading in 2 point each with an EMP and a blade nearly up. I don't even know if they want to wait for this sound barrier, which is going to take ages. Might as well just go in. You also have the Coalescence from Kodak, which can single target, try and boost Sugar Free's health up.
Saucy's going to go underneath the bridge. He's going to try to get to that EMP in this singular clip and potentially translocate away and re-engage. But they do have EMP into Dragon Blade. He is able to get it. How is he going to use it? The Coalescence goes through. Sugar Free still has not used that Dragon Blade. Are they still going to engage here? Especially since Funny Actor is already gone. Gator and Saucy are already low. I think it might be time to pull back. And Atlanta Academy, the smart move here where they don't force this fight. I think an older Atlanta Academy might have, but this time Atlanta Academy played that smart. There's still 4.5 minutes left for them.
And they have an amazing combo here, either the EMP into Blade or EMP into Diva Bomb. They just want to switch things up, because Atlanta Academy don't need to win a long fight. They just need to win one fight, maybe 1.5. And the most deadly tool against blading Genjis, that tire, is now off the table for Envy. Perhaps recognizing that, Jaru swaps to Mei.
EMP only hits 2. Sharp is one of them, though, so the Deadeye is going to get canceled. 65 now for Team Envy. Sugar Free not using that Dragon Blade just yet, as Hawk is going to use self-destruct, take down the Immortality Field. And now that that's down, it might be time for Dragon Blade. It looks like he's looking for it. Is Sugar Free going to slice and dice it to the back line, only take out the Supercharger as the Transcendence is already available for Team Envy. They're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. The Sound Layer is also going to keep Atlanta Academy nice and healthy, but Sugar Free's going to have to find the health back for a little bit of respite. Team Envy will have all 6 members left, and the ult combo fails. Saucy not finding the value he needed with that EMP.
Yeah, just a little bit unfortunate. That throws off the timing with Sugar Free's Blade, who's forced to Blade while after Team Envy drops a Supercharger against 2 beefy tanks. So just a really unfortunate series of events for Atlanta Academy, who aren't going to stay stubborn. I really like this. They're not going to try and force things. They are going to swap into the slightly more meta picks of Reaper and Mei themselves, but they have put themselves at a big disadvantage. Blizzard is nearly up, and Deadeye is already ready for Team Envy. So if Gator's Shield goes down and Hawk gets demeched,
yeah, and there's no Mei, no Mei wall for Atlanta Academy for that Halt Hook combo, and it's really important to have that cooldown, because if it's not there, the Halt Hook becomes the oink and yoink, the hug and tug, as you like to say, becomes incredibly easy for the opposing team to use against you. Then there's no way to defend against that hook unless the Orisa just bodies up in the front and fortifies. And so Atlanta Academy now with the Coalescence is a great opportunity for them to try to take a little bit of space, because he's going to have to use it regardless in this fight. He will have another one by the time his teammates get to those ultimates. Like on the other side though, Jaru with that Blizzard, he's going to be able to take a lot of that space away. Atlanta Academy will be coming in for a Junk Rush though. Kodak has been able to find a lot of picks for himself. Coalescence does go through. They're going to try to isolate Happy. The wall is going to make sure that they engage onto this point. The Immortality Field's going to be there for long enough for Team Envy to not lose anybody. They do force out the Blizzard from Jaru. Gator does go down, but it's all just a fight for Atlanta Academy to try to get to those ultimates. Hawk, the only one really successfully doing it though is Sugar Free, not really doing anything.
Sugar Free has had a really hard time closing the distance against Sharp's McCree. He's stayed on the McCree even after using that ultimate, and I think this is actually a really wise move. One of the reasons that we don't see a ton of McCree play is because he is a little bit higher skill level, but you can also get much higher rewards. He's an excellent pick against a Mei or a Reaper who function mostly at that melee mid-range, so he can always outduel them. Not to mention using the flash to stun the Reaper out of that Wraith block. So Team Envy have a ton of tools to protect their backline. That, along with Happy Cool's hook, is one of the reasons why Atlanta Academy is so cautious on their approach.
I think another reason is Kodak and Funny Ash are not really having as much impact as they normally do, because Fire and Crimzo definitely keeping them in check. Fire finding 2 more kills. That's going to be helped out by that Orisa Supercharger, as Team Envy going to bring Atlanta Academy down to 1 minute.
This is not the Atlanta Academy we've grown used to over the season. They look a little bit lost. They've spent a lot of time building up these ultimates after changing their composition a couple of times, and each time you can understand the theory behind it, but the execution has been lacking. Saucy tossed out that Blizzard and didn't really get anything, and even if he had caught some of Team Envy, they're ready to respond with not only their own, but Crimzo's Transcendence. Team Envy have been very patiently hanging on to these ultimates for that rainy day, and it might be enough.
Deadeye goes through. Is he going to be able to find it? Sugar Free's going to find the Deadeye, actually. Sugar Free's going to find another pick. And Atlanta Academy have a surgical attack. It's not over just yet, though, as Team Envy still has the Immortality Field. 3 more members to go through. Jaru uses the Blizzard. Hawk and Gator are going to be frozen. So is Sugar Free. The Sound Layer are not hitting everyone on Atlanta Academy. They could have gotten more from that, as Numlock now finding a couple more picks. The pile drive coming in from Happy Cool, going to knock a lot of Atlanta Academy in the air. We said it wasn't over, and this is why, because Team Envy still have a lot of tools to use the Transcendence there as well to keep Crimzo himself alive and the rest of Team Envy alive on this point. This has been all Team Envy here on point. Me and Atlanta Academy are going to be rebuffed quite easily here on Assault.
Team Envy never really losing their cool despite the advantages that Atlanta Academy had at various times. And I really like how calm Envy was. Nobody's getting too flustered with the match of the season, East versus West, who's the top of North America, just playing their own very best game. And I particularly like that McCree pick. It's not often that you throw the McCree in the mix when you can get so much easy value from Reaper, but you got a player like Sharp and you know his aim, matches his name tag, so you might as well.
Well, it is 1-1 at the half. This is as close as we expected it, but the map itself, Assault, not very close. Team Envy in complete control, especially on point B. And I think we kind of touched on it briefly, but a big reason why is that Fire and Crimzo, I think, outplaying Funny Astro on the other side. And Funny Astro developing sound barrier very slowly. Kodak, usually with the Coalescence, gets it so quickly that he's able to almost be another DPS for his team. And right now, he has to use it at times that he's not normally used to using it. They've gotten Atlanta Academy out of rhythm. And I think that really starts with the supports, because something that has happened all season is Kodak getting kill after kill after kill. And Kodak, very quiet so far today. Unfortunately for Atlanta Academy, it was a little different on Control, but on Assault, Team Envy really showed that they're here to compete, and they could potentially be the best team in North America as well.
Exactly. They might have changed up their tank line, but you know what hasn't changed? That DPS quality. And Atlanta Academy, trying a couple of new looks. And I also like that, testing the waters, because anytime you can show that kind of flexibility, that variety is going to be a good tool to have in your pocket. It just didn't really turn out to work for them, right? Team Envy sticking with what they know, changing the parts accordingly, counter picking against the Mei and the Reaper with their own McCree, but otherwise, keeping that composition pretty solid. It's hard to deny the value of an Orisa and a Roadhog and Mei on a point like Anubis B. So they're like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, something that we're never going to break tradition on is breaking after 2 maps. So we have entered halftime. Envy and Atlanta are tied 1-1. We'll see the conclusion of our number 1 seed matchup after the break.